Razion EX is one heck of a fun, beautiful, and well put together shooter that gets the important elements right. A mix of Polestar and Blazing Star, with both the graphics chops and great music to match. In fact, it may be developer NGDEV's most complete STG they've made yet, and there's a reason it looks, sounds, and plays like a Neo Geo game. Because it is. First developed and released for the Neo Geo in 2014, it remained an exclusive for years until finally just arriving on Switch in 2021. I've been a fan of NGDEV's games since 2006, when they first released Last Hope on the Neo Geo and Dreamcast, a game I covered in my top 5 hardest shooters on the Neo Geo. And while it was impossibly hard, to the point of insanity, what they did with the visuals and sound, as well as the core concept, was excellent, especially for a very first game. They later released a Pink Bullets version, which fixed a lot of the issues, and made the game more playable and enjoyable by all. And it still has one of the greatest soundtracks put to a shooting game. Over the next 5 years, they released more great games, improving with each one, like Gunlord, a fantastic Turrican tribute, along with hybrid shooting stages and another killer soundtrack. They continue to release even more shooters, like Fast Striker, Neo XYX, and yes, Razion. It's a game that I've wanted to play since 2014, but it was ultra rare and unattainable as a Neo Geo game, selling for upwards of over $2,000. So I jumped at the chance to finally buy it when it released on Switch. Or at least, I tried. The first batch of physical games went up for pre-order, and I got tied up with work. When I went to grab a copy about an hour later, it was too late. Sold out? Apparently within minutes. Damn, guess I'm not the only one dying to play this game. I should have known better. Not long after, a second round of pre-orders was announced. And this time, I wasn't gonna blow it. I had 3 computers going, my PC, and 2 laptops. PayPal ready for a quick checkout. And all 3 hands on deck, ready to strike like a rattlesnake. 3, 2, 1. Sold out again in minutes. But this time, I had my prize, and in just a matter of weeks, I'd finally have it to play. It had been at least a month since others got the first batch of games, so I figured I'd go online to check out some early reviews or impressions. A couple of long plays and 1cc's finally show up, but that's it. Of course it's all over eBay being scalped for 4 to 5 times the price. So here I am, playing this rad new Neo Geo game on my Switch in 2021, enjoying the artistry and pixel art, and really digging how well put together the game is, wanting to show everyone what it's about. And that's exactly what I'm gonna do, but I'm going to do more than that. I got in touch with NGDEV, 2 brothers, Tim and Renee, both living in Germany and making these games since 2006. And I asked them some important questions that you're gonna see answered in this video, such as, this game looks awesome, I wanna play it, but how can I when it's completely sold out? Why don't they also release it digitally on the eShop so those that missed out can play it that way instead, especially when the physical is already sold out? Do they plan to release even more physical runs of this game since it's in demand and there are others who wanted a physical copy but couldn't get it yet? And what other new releases they have coming up on Switch and other modern consoles. All will be revealed, and I don't think that you'll be disappointed. Do you know what else you won't be disappointed in? Razion Ex on the Switch. Razion pulls no punches in its presentation. It's both a great looking and sounding game, something NGDEV is known for. I mean, listen to these Euro beats. It's like Polestar meets Above and Beyond, with a mix of both atmospheric and bumpin' tunes. It's got callbacks to games of yore, like Stage 2, The Creature's Lair, that both remind of the same stage in R-Type 2 and Polestar, with the sunken lower half and mid-boss design. But its beauty is not skin deep. As it's also the most refined shooter NGDEV has made yet in terms of gameplay. Razion nails the two things most important for a good shmup: replay value and depth. Much like Blazing Star, once you pick it up, you want to just keep playing it over and over until you've finished it. The gameplay is fast-paced like Blazing, but without the slowdown of Polestar. The bullet patterns are extremely varied and creative, making it fun to route your way through each stage. And the controls are tight and responsive, with me measuring only 3 frames of delay, including my display. There are 3 modes: Novice, Normal, and Maniac, and all are well balanced. Novice is a great way to get your feet wet without being stupidly easy. Normal is a solid challenge for the average player, and Maniac becomes closer to a bullet hell, with faster bullets and some serious craziness for experienced players. But still very manageable, it never goes over the top. Even I had no problem playing on the Maniac mode once I got the hang of it. Your ship color will change depending on the level you play. Blue for Novice, green for Normal, and red for Maniac. You earn more credits to play with as you put in more game time. And they even included both a level and boss practice modes. Excellent. You have your base shot, which can be used normally or in a focus mode, which slows down your ship for more intricate dodging. 2 separate buttons, so you can decide which one you want to use at any given time. You also fire missiles automatically, which are useful for destroying ceiling and ground-based enemies in tight spaces. And you can't die from the environment here, only enemies and bullets. And a beam cannon that recharges on its own. It's like a super attack that clears enemies and bullets off the screen, and is also a very important part of the scoring. And speaking of scoring, Razion absolutely nails it with a unique system I haven't seen anywhere else. Killing enemies reveals golden cubes, which will increase your score multiplier as you pick them up. However, you don't want to just quickly grab them, as shooting them actually increases their value the more you do it. And the more cubes you have on screen at once, the greater multiplier they'll give you after picking them up, which is shown in the upper left corner. These cubes will disappear or float away, so growing them with your shot and not letting them disappear is how you maximize your multiplier. In addition, your beam cannon freezes them, stopping them from disappearing or getting away, allowing you to collect as many as possible on screen all at once for a max multiplier. Frozen cubes will even slowly freeze nearby cubes as they appear or pass by, and collecting the cubes also recharges your beam even faster, allowing you to use it more frequently for maximizing your score. On top of that, the game gives you extra technical bonuses on every end boss that you destroy without using your beam to survive, kind of like a bonus for no bombing. The multiplier doesn't reset when you die, only at the end of each stage. So the goal is to work on maxing your score on a level per level basis. I've only scratched the surface of what's possible, and it's already clear a ton of thought was put into a really unique scoring mechanic. And if you're not a huge score chaser, as I certainly am not, simply the fast pace and great presentation of the game is enough to keep me coming back. And I must say it again, the music by Andre Newman is excellent, especially if you enjoy a mix of the European techno scene with atmospheric Polestar-style compositions. Check out this epic sci-fi track from Stage 5 that shows pretty much everyone else how it's done. It's about average length for a shmup at 6 stages and easy to replay and retry. The bosses are impressive looking, although I would have liked if they were less of a giant wall shooting bullets and more mobile around the screen. If anything, it's the bosses that are a bit on the easy side compared to the levels themselves, and don't take too much practice to master. But you will get score bonuses for defeating them fair and square without using your beam. The only other minor knock against the game is the final stage, which isn't as impressive as the high standard they set for the 5 that came before it. There weren't any major bugs I came across either, aside from the ship in the background of stage 1 not always showing up. At least not until I started the game from back in the main menu. Speaking of the menu, the options are basic but solid, such as the stage and boss practice I mentioned earlier. It also has an option for scan lines, which was a nice touch given it was originally developed for the Neo Geo. Really, this was a super fun, rockin' Neo Geo shmup on the Switch. I'd recommend it to anyone that's a fan of Neo Geo side-scrolling shooters, or a fan of this style of game. Now you want to know, hey, this game looks cool, I want to buy it. Where's the link, junkie? Where can I pick it up? Well, for that, I went straight to the source, contacted Tim from NGDEV. First I asked, are there going to be more physical releases of the game for everyone else? And the answer was yes. Not only did they just do another sale for their remaining B stock, but they plan yet another physical run next year. Please don't feed those asshole scalpers online that bought up much of the stock just to jack up the prices. How many more copies they're going to release is to be determined. But as long as demand is there, they stated they will do more releases of the standard edition of the game. Okay, well what about digital? Why don't they just release it on the eShop like they did a while ago with Gunlord, so anyone that doesn't care whether they have a physical or not can just play it that way? Well, yeah, they can, but they won't. And it all comes back to their previous digital release back in 2019 for the awesome Gunlord. Here we have their most well-reviewed, known, and popular game. You can look up reviews by so many like Classic Gameroom, which has almost 100,000 views. And when it released physical on Switch, it sold out too. As expected, they went through the effort and released it on the Switch eShop. And it sold like hotcakes. Gamers couldn't get enough. NGDEV sold so many copies, they were able to hire more staff, personal cooks, a masseuse, and took a well-needed vacation. Psych, what pipe are you smoking? Actually, this is what happened. That's right, it didn't sell. In fact, it sold so bad and NGDEV was so disappointed that they immediately canceled the sequel. Wait, what? The sequel? They were working on a sequel? I'd love a sequel to Gunlord. Well, too bad. You ain't getting one. And look, if it's not very good, nobody will want it. But Gunlord X isn't just good, it's awesome. Not just me, but many reviewers agreed. And it's only $10 on the Switch eShop. Are you kidding me? So if something like Gunlord didn't sell, why in the world would NGDEV think that Razion, another fantastic but virtually unknown game, would sell in any way on the eShop? What have we done as gamers and consumers to prove otherwise? But there is a way. There is a way NGDEV will in fact start releasing their catalog digitally. They will when we start supporting it. They will when we start downloading the awesome Gunlord in large quantities, and they see that their time and product isn't wasted. Not because they're greedy, but because they're human beings that were very hurt by the horrendous response to the game going digital, and it soured them to do it again. Want to see Razion digital? Then buy their games next time when they put them out digitally. They don't owe us a digital release. Just because a handful of us want it, it has to perform. It has to be viable. That's how it works. And while I'm sure they made mistakes as well, and have lots of room to improve in how they publish and promote their digital releases, the bottom line is we, as consumers, decide our fate. When they put out Gunlord, we didn't do it. When they put out Fast Striker, we didn't do it. Okay, maybe you did, I did, even though I already owned it on the Dreamcast. But very few bothered. And I can almost guarantee that if their eShop releases do sell well, they'll release more. And speaking of releasing more, they also let me know that an updated version of Fast Striker, EX, is planned for a physical release next year on Switch. And in fact, right now, Fast Striker is on sale on the PlayStation Store until mid-August for $2. Yeah, you heard that right, $2. Think about the games this small team has released. Last Hope, Neo XYX, Gunlord, Fast Striker, the Metal Slug homage, Krautbuster, and now Razion. These guys make some really cool games, and I'd like to see them keep making them. And according to them, they're doing just that. In their own words, brand new games for modern consoles, PS4 and Switch. New games, and that's fantastic news. So I'm doing my best to show their existing games here, and supporting them myself, just like I do with M2, and other small indie devs that I don't want to disappear. NGDEV already knows they can put out limited physical games, and the low stock will sell. They've been doing it since 2006, but based on my conversation with Tim, the sole reason we aren't getting them in broader, digital release as well is due to poor performance. Not greed, not collector markets. Until we buy their digital releases already out there, they'll be gun-shy about doing it again. So to come full circle, what did you think of Razion EX? Do you already own it yourself? Or will you be looking to pick up a physical copy when they release more? Or are you looking for it digital and want them to release it that way? Or how about some of their other games, like Gunlord? Did you know that it was only $10 on the eShop? Have you never played it? Would you be looking to pick it up? Let me know in the comments, because you can bet that NGDEV is watching, and most likely also reading the comments. What are we going to let them know? Are we going to show them that we're a community that will support them? But regardless of where you fall, I hope you at least not only enjoyed the review, but also my attempt to shed some light on a developer whose games I've enjoyed for a very long time.